everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're joining us. You have ventured into or ventured upon another episode of The Nonprofit Show. We're thrilled you're here joining us. And we are so excited because one of my favorite co hosts is here, Jack Alotto, and he is one of the masterminds of National University's Fundraising Academy. So, Jack, thank you so much for being with us another Friday. Just to catch you up to speed, in case you don't know, people all over the world send us emails, they tweet us, they connect with us on LinkedIn. Um, when I'm out in public, they'll ask questions and say, "Will you, address this?" And so this is a really cool thing for us. Um, we don't rehearse this. We don't have like a standard thread. It's like what our answers are very organic and unique, and we don't always agree, and that's fun too. And so this is what Ask and Answer is all about. We're really, really fortunate to have our presenting sponsors, and it's super important to realize that Fundraising Academy at National University is our presenting sponsor of this specific day. They believed so much in this concept that they provide us with different experts every single Friday, and then we get to have these great dialogues. And so we want to make sure that we thank Bloomerang, American Nonprofit Academy, your part-time controller, Be Generous, again, Fundraising Academy at National University, Staffing Boutique, Nonprofit Thought Leader, and Nonprofit Nerd. These are the folks that are in partnership with us. And if you've missed any of our episodes and you want to get to us, Jack, on Monday we hit our 700th episode.
Yippee!
I know. Can you believe it? I when I hear that number, I think that's why I feel like I'm 700 years old. It's like, holy moly, that's a lot. But anyway, find us. You can reach our archives through Roku, YouTube TV, Amazon Fire TV, and of course Vimeo. And then, if you really are one of those people that likes to consume content through podcast format, which is fabulous, we've taken all of our episodes for this last year, and our executive producer Kevin Pace has put them into podcast format. So it's super cool. You can consume us wherever you like to queue up your podcasts and take us with you. Okay, Mr. Jack, you ready?
Yes, let's get to it.
All right. This is a curveball. This comes from Jarrett, the nonprofit nerd in Phoenix, Arizona. What do you think should be the main concern for nonprofits in 2023? Big
That
question. Hello.
is a great question. The main concern, I think, if we look at what the Giving USA report has shown, like that there is some steady giving, that it's not growing as it used to grow in giving across the country and in Canada as well. For those who are visiting us from Canada,
Yeah.
our main concern should be, how do we retain our donors and how do we grow their giving so that they're giving larger gifts? And my solution for that, as it always is to build relationships with your donors. So the concern is to keep our donors, let's retain them, make them give year after year after year, and let's grow their giving. And we do that by building a strong relationship with them.
Yeah, that's not my answer, but
Okay.
but now I'm thinking, I know,
That was
like what?
Let's hear your answer, Julia.
Okay, that's not my answer, but now I'm thinking maybe it should be. So I'm gonna, kind of hedge my bet. I gotta say, and I know that the world that I live in is different than yours because I have a lot of different voices coming at me, and I don't just listen to, on the fundraising side. I mean, everything really does boil down to fundraising in the nonprofit sector because it's basically sales. I mean, we talk about
Right,
this cause selling.
right.
But I
Yep.
gotta tell you, Jack, what really freaks me out and gives me pause is the condition of labor.
Yeah.
And I am really concerned about a couple things. the number of people leaving our sector,
Yeah.
and it's not because they're unhappy. Two things, they're aging out and they're burning out.
Right.
So that's a
Right.
big thing. And that's a demographic issue, right?
Yeah.
That's something that's just the demographic of American society and the age. And then the other thing, Jack, I'm concerned about, and it kind of filters in going in the other direction, is the number of people coming into our sector without proper education. There's
Yeah.
still only about five major universities in our nation
Yeah.
educating about nonprofit management.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree with that.
that's
I
not
really
enough.
don't. Yeah.
We need more. I mean, now we have Fundraising Academy and we have the American Nonprofit Academy and we have things like that in this engine. But we need to be bringing more people in,
Yeah.
not just from a point of ethos, but from a
Yeah.
point of education.
Yeah. I think employee retention is so important. And we've talked about this in the past, giving your employees the option to go and train at like the Fundraising Academy
Yeah,
or CFRE, or take the
yeah,
time on a Friday or Monday through Friday to come to the nonprofit show to increase their skill set. All of those things are important. And if we want to keep employees, which is a concern of yours and mine as well, then we have to give them opportunities to develop professionally. The
yeah.
second thing around people entering the profession who may not have the training or the ambition to go to like the Fundraising Academy or to seek a CFRE, here's one of the problems that I see that has happened. Peer-to-peer fundraising, crowdfunding has grown exponentially.
Mhm.
Okay, Giving Tuesday, peer-to-peer fundraising.
Yeah.
One of the things that I heard in a webinar that I attended just the other day is that the increase in crowdfunding is telling people that anyone can be a fundraiser, and
Oh
peer-to-peer
my God,
fundraising.
that's like a hair on fire moment because you know what?
Yes.
I never, sorry, I shouldn't say hair on fire moment, Jack, to you. Oh, my dear friend, only I can joke with you about that. Now people are turning off because they're like, she's a wench. But Jack, I never put two and two together.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it's not mine. I have to give credit to that webinar I was listening to. And I had a hair on fire moment. It wasn't the hair on my head fire moment. It was the hair on my chin fire moment, because it's true. When people are
Wow.
out there, when we're training our board, Joe, go ask your friends. We're telling them that this is easy. Anyone can do it. And guess what? It's not
It's
easy.
not. And it's a profession.
It is a profession.
It's a profession. Wow. Okay, now you've really given me a lot to think about.
Well, you brought it up and
I
I
mean,
just added to it. So two great
that's
minds are
interesting.
thinking in a similar vein, which is really great. Yours and Kevin's are the great minds, not mine.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. Okay, well now we had a question from Jarrett, the nonprofit nerd. Now we have a question from Julia, just the plain gal in Phoenix, Arizona. What do you think made nonprofits stronger or pushed them in a new way during 2022?
It has to be the pandemic,
Hmm.
the continued pandemic, which I think we're at the end of now. And I think the end actually started during this past year. We learned some really important things during the height of the pandemic. We learned about the workspace,
Yeah,
flexible work environments,
yeah.
being able to work from home. Look at me sitting in my garage in Southern California right now. So
Mhm.
all of that flexible workspace, the use of Zoom and Cisco and other ways to communicate, they're not going to go away
Right,
in 2023. We
right.
learned some ways to build relationships in a hybrid world.
Mhm.
And I think those things are going to stay with us as we go forward. We see, especially among millennials, they don't want to go back to working 9 to 5. They
Yeah.
want more around family and friends and social networks and being able to walk their dog at 10 a.m., or take their child to kindergarten or whatever it is. So those things are things that we learn, and they're going to stay with us in the future. And you know what? I think it's good. I
I do
really do think it's
too.
positive.
No, I do too. I think it's good. I think to your point, it's just like learning a new system and I want to say it's almost like learning a new value system, but it's not. It's not a new value system. It's just managing,
Yeah.
how we can be working.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think for me, it is embracing digital technology,
Yep.
which for some weird reason the nonprofit sector is so far behind, but I really feel like it
Yeah.
is, digital fundraising, digital communications with our donors, reaching out. Just think about all the opportunities that we have never had to share a video or audio or show the movement of something within programming.
Yeah. How
You know,
about self-care? I always like
yeah,
your end of the show theme. Stay well so that you could do well. That's about self-care.
yeah,
That's something that I want to
yeah,
practice more of. And my friends and family, those people who take classes, are
mhm,
self-care first.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's part of our American culture too. We've never wanted to talk about that. It's always appeared to be weak and, buck up, go forward,
Yeah.
don't be a wimp. And so I agree with you. I think those are pretty cool things. I gotta say, Jack, and before I move on to our next question, I feel pretty optimistic.
Me
I mean,
too.
we have a lot of problems and we have a lot of issues, but I feel like as a sector, now I'm speaking as a sector, I feel like maybe we're better prepared to march forward and finding solutions. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think 2022 was a great year for me. I look back on what we've accomplished in my professional life as well as in my personal life.
Mhm.
And just the people I've met, all of those things, the people I've interacted with,
Yeah.
all of it was a good year in so many ways. And I'm looking forward to the next year
Yeah.
and to expand on some of those relationships I've built.
Mhm.
It's just really a beautiful, I'm optimistic about the future.
Yeah, me too. Good. I'm glad to hear that because sometimes, when you're coming through a slog, no matter what that slog is, but I would say now we've had a social slog. It's been,
Mhm.
really hard. And even across this nation of ours, this very week, I mean, I think we're marching towards 100 Americans that have lost their lives in this storm, this great
I
storm.
know.
I mean, so this is things are tough, and but yeah, I do feel optimistic. So
Yeah,
that's I think that's a good way to end the year for sure. Um,
definitely.
okay, let's go on to our next question. Who's not Julia or Jared?
Wow, a surprise.
This comes to us from Jamal from Chicago, Illinois. Woo! Thinking about cold. Hoy, yoy, yoy. Jamal is unfrozen himself and he is asking the question. We are concerned that our board needs younger talent. Do you have any ideas on what a minimum age requirement should be in order to serve on a board? We've had this question before in couched in a little different way, but the age, I would say, Jack, on the beginning and the ending. Like
Yeah.
what's too young and what's too old.
I don't have a really great answer to that. Let's look at it this way. If you are an organization that's working with youth, say around sports, then I think you need some youth on your board.
Mhm.
I always people say that the people who are the beneficiaries or the clients of your organization have to be close to power, and
Yeah.
that means putting them on the board.
Yeah.
If it's a youth program or if it's a, a senior citizen program, like a senior citizen center or
Right.
something like that, you
Right.
have to have senior citizens on the board because they are closest to the client base that you're trying to serve, and they can inform us about how to do this work. So I don't really have a minimum age or a maximum age. But what I will say about board recruitment, you have to look at other characteristics.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Yeah.
Attention to mission, ethics, have shared values with your organization. These are way more important characteristics to me than the age or the gender of the person.
Mhm.
It's really important that they understand how they can work in your organization to advance your mission. Those things are way more, those characteristics are way more important to me than age.
Yeah. Well, my first thought is of legal age. So I would not do, I mean, I'm all over the concept of having young professional boards, youth boards, subset boards that are non-fiduciary,
Yeah,
that are, we use the word support boards, and they can be, Hispanic groups, young Hispanic leaders, young rabbinical students. I mean, whatever it is, right, that dovetails to your mission. But technically, I would be concerned about the fiduciary issue of, governance of somebody that's not of majority age, of the age
yeah,
of 21.
yeah,
Because I know, and you know this with the board service, you are endorsing contracts, there's governance issues, so there's a legal precedent, I
yeah.
would think. I would also imagine that it might be hard to get D&O insurance for somebody that's not 21. I don't know that
Right.
for a fact, but
I don't know either.
something to
I,
think
I
about.
think I think Julia, one of the problems that I've seen with boards, and this is not my concept again, and I can't remember where I got this, but typically boards have been made up of people who don't need the services of the organization,
Yeah,
never enter the community
yeah.
of where the clients are, have no idea about the culture or the values of that community. I worked for an organization many years ago whose primary board were white people, and the clients of the organization, 80 to 90% of the clients were Latinx people.
Yeah.
That's we've got to stop that, and more people who are the clients or the beneficiaries of service have to be close to the decision makers and
Absolutely.
make those decisions. We have to have their voices on our board, and we have to listen to those voices.
Yeah, absolutely. We have created an amazing tool on the American Nonprofit Academy, uh, and it evolves every year, and it's two part. It's kind of like a survey to determine who and what you have on the board, and to look at the talent, and then there's a second part that allows you to determine what you need on the board. And it's
Yep.
not ethnicity and gender. It's things like language. It's
Yeah.
geography. It is understanding technology, marketing, HR,
Yeah.
legal components, all these things. And if you want access to that, just email me. I'll give out my personal email.
And I would say this, Julia, anyone who is looking to add board members should go through that assessment
Oh yeah,
first.
yeah. You
And
have to
so
do. It's a great
before you
tool.
add anybody,
Yeah,
anyone else. Yeah.
yeah, it's a great tool. JCP at AmericanNonprofitAcademy.com. Email me and I'll go ahead and send it to you. It's two different assessments. It's a really good thing. But, Jamal, I agree exactly with what Jack is saying. You've got to get people around the table who look like the people that are involved in the mission, vision, and values.
That's
And
right.
it's the right thing to do. It's the most
Yes.
effective thing to do, but it's hard to get there, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take time. It's easier to get, the people that look like you, your friends on the board than it is to get people that don't look like you. So
Yep.
you have to work it. And yeah, good luck, Jamal. I appreciate you even asking that question, or even I should say asking it, but thinking about it. Let's go to the Fund Development Committee in New Orleans, Louisiana. A Fund Development Committee. I love it when a group asks a question. I think that's fascinating. How soon post Christmas holiday season can we ask donors again? We are having an internal discussion. Okay, disagreement about this. I love it. Okay,
I
Jack.
Another really tough question that there's not like one answer fits all. It really depends on the relationship you have with the donor. You know, if you have a relationship where 30 days after you received a gift for this program, and you have another program that you may want to ask for, if you have that relationship where you can do that, fine.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I don't like to be asked more than once a year. I think it's a waste for them to keep sending letters and emails saying, hey, support us again, because and I think this year I'm going to put a little note in all of the gifts that I make, only contact me once a year. But there are other donors who want to be asked more than once.
Yeah.
So it really depends on who that donor is and what they want. I will tell you this, one of the prime ways that we can determine about monthly giving, the best candidates to make a monthly gift are those who make more than one gift a year to your organization. They already know how to make multiple gifts. So maybe the way, rather than, I know this is a roundabout way of answering this question, maybe what you should look at is how do you start a monthly giving program and give it some strength and vigor? How do you invigorate that?
Yeah. How do you like convert those folks to a monthly giving environment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
If
that's
someone gives you more than one gift a year, they're a prime candidate for a monthly gift.
yeah. So you know what when I see this question, I think this is like a marketing question. Like
Yeah.
I think that it's easy to confuse an ask and working with donors with communication. And
Yeah.
I think so. I got to ask you this, Jack. When you say you want to be asked once a year,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. But don't you want to be hearing about what's going
Oh
on?
yeah. Yes, I do. And that's
So,
principle of stewardship. I
yeah,
want to I want to get reports on the impact of my gift. I want to be
yeah.
thanked, and I want to be recognized in the way that I tell you I want to be recognized. Not the way you think I should be recognized, but in the way I let you know. And how do you find out those things? Ask me. Ask your donors. Would you like to receive more than one uh, uh, gift request a year?
Mhm.
And if they say only one a year, follow it. If
Yeah,
they say, sure, yeah, let me know what your needs are throughout the year, then
yeah,
definitely ask. It's just such a simple thing to do. Ask them, they'll tell you. They're waiting for you to ask some of these questions.
yeah. Yeah, I would say don't confuse the ask with engagement. And I love what you just said is that demonstration that is powerful of impact.
Yep.
Thank you, Jack Alotto, for this gift. We just got to do this. Or
Yep.
because you joined with all of our other donors at this level, we were able to achieve that or,
Right.
accomplish this. I mean, to me, Jack, that seems like that's
Yeah.
the better thing.
When I see lots of people, your gift has made a difference. Tell me what the difference was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What difference did my gift make? Don't, this language, your gift makes a difference, does means nothing to me. Tell me specifically what the difference was.
So let me ask you a follow-up question to that then. How do you feel about like monthly newsletters or communications or digital? Like, what is your sense of that? How does that look to you as a donor and then somebody that's an expert in cause selling space? What's your sense of connectivity?
You know, the, so I do want to hear about impact based on that question you asked me before. Do I need a monthly newsletter? Probably not. Okay.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
people do need a monthly newsletter. They want to know. Here's the problem with most of the newsletters I get. It's about the organization. It's so organization centric. It's not about impact, some of these things. It's not about how I made a difference with my gift. It's not about recognizing donors. It's all about them. And it seems to me that some newsletters are really insiders. It's for the insiders. It's for the board. It's for the staff. It's not necessarily for the stakeholders outside of the organization.
Okay, so when I hear you say that, I think like um, moving more towards education and understanding like the sector as a whole. So let's say you're donating to a food bank,
Yeah,
giving more information about the ecosystem of the
yeah.
food bank sector. I mean, would that be of interest to you as a donor?
Yeah, I would like to know what's going on. Is the population of those needing food rising? Is it
Right,
staying the same? Is it going down? What
right.
what problems in are we seeing that are causing more people to come to food bank? Is it
Okay,
greater unemployment? Is it inflation that we're talking about so much right now? What
gotcha.
are the problems? Tell me about the problems that bring about the need for feeding programs.
Right. Wow,
Yep, let's
interesting.
get to the bottom of these causes. Is
Right.
it social injustice that promotes
Hmm.
poverty? I think so.
Hmm.
Is it racism? Is it sexism? What are the root causes of the problems that all of these organizations who come to this show today are
Hmm.
trying to solve?
Hmm.
Tell me
So,
about that.
so a viewer has written in and makes the comment, this only works if you can get donors to respond, and you have to be able to track their individual preferences and segment them. This is a
Yeah,
big discussion, and that's a heavy lift for a lot of groups. How do you respond
yeah.
to
So yes, whoever wrote that is absolutely correct. We segment our donors and we target our communications based on those segments.
that? Hmm.
We talk about millennials all the time. Millennials are now the largest part of our population,
Yeah.
donor population. How do they want to be communicated with? Do they want snail mail? I don't think so. Do they want email? Probably. How do they want to be involved with our organization? They don't want to just write checks. Maybe they want to come and do some volunteer work. This is another big thing about millennials. Do you know what I just read a statistic? You know how millennials like to give? Through the workplace.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They like to give through the workplace. Baby boomers like me, we like to write a check.
Hmm.
By the way, don't just send me a request right away now that I said that. You know what I'm saying? We're check writers. Maybe we don't volunteer as much. Maybe in retirement we volunteer more. So yes, segmenting and understanding that segment. It's like this. When I worked in healthcare, if you called me up and said, Jack, I'm interested in women's health at your hospital, am I going to send you information about the emergency room? Of course not. I'm going to segment you into a group of people who are interested in women's health, and then I'm going to target my communications based on your preferences. That, and how do we know that? We know that by talking to them. Back to the question about should I ask for another gift? Ask them.
Right, right. You know, Jack, as we wind up another amazing time with you, it's so simple, but it's so hard. It seems like this just keeps coming back to communication.
Yeah,
Isn't
it
it
does.
fascinating? I mean, communication, communication, communication.
Yep. And every single generation, of which there are like five right now,
Yeah.
from the greatest generation still around to Gen Z, Y, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
they desire different ways to communicate with them and different messaging. We really have to be cognizant of what messages they want.
Absolutely. Well, Jack Alotto, you are an amazing talent. I
Thank you.
always am super excited to get into the studio with you.
Happy New Year. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year! I just love your energy and I love your knowledge and the things that you say. It's super cool to have you on, my friend. What a great year it's been. It's going to be even a better year. We're very excited about this with the nonprofit show, and it's been a great thing for us to end on such a high note. So thank you, Jack Galato,
Thank you.
one of our stellar trainers with Fundraising Academy. Check them out at fundraising-academy.org or My Learning Portal. Really interesting opportunities to learn more about some of the things that we've been talking about for free. So you just got to check them out. They do such an amazing thing. Again, we want to thank all of our presenting sponsors, from Bloomerang to American Nonprofit Academy, your part-time controller, Be Generous, Fundraising Academy at National University, Staffing Boutique, Nonprofit Thought Leader, and the Nonprofit Nerd. These are the folks that have been with us day in and day out, and they're going to be with us as we launch the new year, which is going to be very, very exciting. Jack, have a wonderful
Yes.
holiday.
And you as well. Happy New Year to everyone.
Absolutely. As we end every episode, we want to remind everyone, ourselves, and even 2023 and the whole environment to stay well so you can do well. We'll see you
Yep.
back here on Monday.